4. Coming up here on the Brave Sports Network, we have back-to-back coaches shows as usual on this Tuesday. We'll hear from Jake Morton coming up a little bit later on, but as you can see, Nate Kilbert standing by, the Nate Kilbert program. There's a big 24 hours for Nate Kilbert, part of a couple of championship teams in his time in the 80s at Mississippi Valley, and they were honored last night. So Nate Kilbert was in Itta Bena with that recognition, and of course trying to move on from the UAPB loss, and we'll talk about the Valley game as well. So a lot to unpack. Got the Florida teams coming in as the Lady Braves try to stay at the top of the standings. We'll take a 30-second timeout. We'll be right back with the Nate Kilbert Show here on the Brave Sports Network.
Some names immediately evoke an uncommon sense of family, an unmistakable sense of character, an undeniable sense of legacy. Always. Where trailblazers and innovators chart new paths of possibility. Where academic rigor empowers the strength of character to lead with knowledge and integrity. It's a name that harkens back to over 150 years of truly making a difference in our world. Always Alcorn.
All right, Dale, here on the Brave Sports Network, 91.7 WPRL, WPRL.org, Facebook Live, WPRL, as well as YouTube, Brave Sports Network. Glad you could join us. Charles Eppin with Lady Braves head coach Nate Kilbert here on the Nate Kilbert program. Big week for the Lady Braves coming up. The schedule flips. You got 5 at home, 2 on the road, and you got the Florida teams coming in the next few days. Coach Kilbert, how you doing?
Doing good, Charles. Doing good. What about yourself?
Oh, doing fine. Trying to get over that UAPB loss. Have you gotten over it?
Hey, I ain't got no other choice. Got to move on. Got to do it like we did the A&M game. I mean, we talked to the kids about it today. It's wasted. It's just spilled milk now. Got to clean it up.
Yeah. Got to clean it up. Cedric, we're going to take a 1-minute break here. We're going to get the show started. We'll take a 1-minute timeout right here. We'll be right back as the Nate Kilbert program rolls on. We'll talk about Valley, UAPB, and preview the Florida teams. Scoreboard watching. Try to be one of the top 2 seeds. A lot to talk about. We'll take a 1-minute break. We'll be right back here on the Brave Sports Network.
Agriculture isn't just what we do, it's who we've always been. At Alcorn State University's College of Agriculture and Applied Sciences, we've always understood that feeding the world takes more than knowledge. It takes heart. Our rigorous programs blend time-honored wisdom with cutting-edge science. Here, you'll join generations of innovators who've always pushed boundaries while keeping their roots firmly planted in tradition. Always growing, always innovating, always Alcorn.
All right, we're back here on the Nate Kilbert program. All right, Coach, let's get right into it. Mississippi Valley and UAPB. Let's start with Valley. 75-72, Coach. The game featured 6 ties and 3 lead changes. Of course, we'll have highlights of Mississippi Valley. This was a team last year that really got it done in the tournament, and a team that gave us fits last year at our place and was tough to win at the Harrison Complex. And the game kind of went as expected, a high-scoring, intense, lot going on there. We're able to get out of Itta Bena with the win. So talk a little bit about that game, Coach, and the challenge. Of course, Valley comes here, the second to the last game of the regular season. But it was a really good basketball game, and we really had to be on our P's and Q's to get out of Valley with a win. Talk about that.
Well, it's like normal to us, Charles, because every time we play them, it's always a tough ball game. And it's really hard to play them down there. And they beat us both places last year, as you remember. But anytime we walk into the Harrison Complex, we know we got to be on our P's and Q's because they're really going to be up for us. And with us being tied for first place when we went in there, we knew that was going to really intense their energy level because they would really like to be able to knock us off and then have bragging rights saying they knocked us out of first place, and they beat us too. So, uh, but we expected what we got from Mississippi Valley. Valley has a good basketball team, and they don't just get up for us. They're the only team in the league to beat A&M. So that tells you something right there. So I thought we did a good job of maintaining our focus and our concentration, especially after being down at half. I thought we did a real good job of coming back in the second half and actually locking in on some things that we thought we could get away with offensively and defensively. Uh, that was a tough place to play, but we got out of there. I thought our kids did a real good job of not giving up and staying focused and locked in on some of the things that we talked about at halftime that we thought we could get during the game.
Well, we trailed at half, coach, 47-39. So when you look at this Valley lineup with Sidney Marshall, Jada Murphy, Ariel Jefferson, Nairobi Lewis, and Desiree Smith, 4 of the 5 starters scored in double figures, led by Sidney Marshall's 18, followed by Murphy's 15. Why has Valley been such a challenge for us, and what was it about this Valley team when you looked at them on film that was a challenge? And maybe that was an eye opener for you when you saw them up close and personal.
Well, I think the biggest thing about this whole Valley Alcorn thing is Valley takes the game a little bit more serious on the rivalry side than what we do. I mean, I think we take the Jackson State game serious simply because we look at it as more of a rivalry for us. But Valley is legit. They have a good basketball team, and we have to start understanding that you're not just going to walk in there and beat them now. That you're going to have to play to beat them. And I thought their energy levels are always high when they play us. We just have to do a better job of matching their energy. And to be honest with you, for the last couple of years, we really matched their energy. They just was a better ball club than what we was at the time. Last year they beat us, and they're a good ball club now. But we're playing some real good basketball, so we was able to get out of there this year. And but we expect it every time we play Valley. We know how tough it is to play down there, and it's a matter of us just executing and making shots. Because when we make shots, we can beat anybody, and we know that. But Valley's going to always be up for the game when we play them because they look at that game as a big time rivalry for them.
Well, Maya Clador got it going, then Lauren Nelson got it going, and in the first half, coach, we were down 47-39, and I remember a couple of players coming out of the locker room early, and you were saying, hey, you told your team we're going to win this basketball game. Despite we were down, we're going to win this game. What was the look that the players were giving you? You gave them the look. What was the look they were giving you in the locker room?
Confident. They believe what I was saying. They believe in what I was telling them because we feel like we should have played better going into at halftime. We didn't play good those last 3 minutes of going into halftime. We feel like we had a lot more to give. And I think that's why we were so confident going back out there that we didn't play our best basketball and we're still in the game. We got a chance to win this game. And I mean, I wasn't just telling them that. I really felt that way. I felt like we was going to come back out and execute and do some of the things that we are capable of doing. And we started making shots. I think that was the key. We started making some shots. We was getting good looks in the first half. We just wasn't making them. And then in the second half, we started to knock down some. We got more consistent on offense. And when we consistent on offense, we're a tough team to beat because our defense is normally pretty solid.
Well, we're down at halftime, but we led by 2 going into the fourth quarter. So, Coach, take us into the fourth quarter. It was a seesaw game back and forth. I think we led by 6 midway through, but Valley kept coming. What was the key to trying to finish the game, or at least try to anyway? Because Valley kept shooting, Valley kept making shots, and they kept themselves in the game in the second half, especially the fourth quarter.
Yeah, well, I think we end up in the third quarter going up at least by 8, and we didn't manage that 8 points like we should have going into the fourth quarter. We allowed them to hit a couple threes and get back in the game and end up going into the fourth quarter up by 2. But I still felt like we was under control of the game. That we had the tempo the way we wanted to have. Valley wasn't controlling the tempo. We was in control of the pace of the game. And when we can control the pace of the game, we can dictate what we want to do. And I thought we did a good job of that in the fourth quarter. And I thought that's what kept us to lead, even though Valley hit us with some spurts. But we expected that. we in Illuminating, we expected them to hit us with some spurts, but we was able to maintain. We kept the lead, and I thought we ran some good plays down the stretch. And normally we are a good team down the stretch. We execute like we're supposed to. We get the ball where it's supposed to go. We don't always finish the play, but we finished it against Valley. We made enough plays down the stretch to win the game because we actually, I thought if we had a shot free throws a little bit better, the game wouldn't have been as close. We almost gave them. I think Maya missed two free throws at the end to keep them thinking they had a chance to tie the game. She had made just one of those. That last air ball wouldn't. We wouldn't been holding our breath, holding it not go for it not to go in.
Well, yeah, we led at one point by 6 going into the down the stretch, but then it was a 3-point game late. Marshall with a couple of free throws late, and then Maya Claytor, coach, had a chance to ice it as you talked about, but missed a couple. And Valley had an opportunity. Talk about that final sequence, coach, in the final seconds. What did you expect that Valley would do there as Maya Claytor hit it? Kept Valley in it, missing a couple of free throws, and Valley with a chance.
Well, our thing was, is not to let them get a free opportunity just to throw the ball along to somebody else and allow them to be able to catch and shoot. We wanted the person that had the ball to have to dribble it the length of the court and shoot it themselves. And that's what, fortunately for us, they didn't have a lot of time to do that. And, the person dribbled the ball and had to take the shot. But I thought we did a good job defensively and not allowing her to pass the ball. Didn't leave anybody open for her to pass the ball to. So she ended up taking like almost a half court shot. But it wouldn't have counted if she made it because she got it off late anyways.
Lady Braves won 75-72. The Lady Braves had 4 players in double figures for the starters. Kiera Henderson with 14, 12 by Cheatham, Maya Hunk and Claytor with 12, Krishani Walker. Krishani Walker, coach, 11 points, 7 rebounds. Those were huge, and she has been huge in the post, and she seems to be getting better and better and better with each game. Double figures, 5 or 6 rebounds. Non-conference, that was tough. But what's the key for her right now? Why is she in such a pretty good rhythm and comfort zone in her game offensively?
I think she's a sophomore. Now she's doing her sophomore season. She's becoming a junior. I mean, it's just playing time for her. She's actually getting more playing time. She's still young. She's still learning our system, and as the year goes along, she get a better understanding of what we want her to do and how we want her to do it. So you can see her playing better. But I know Coach Robbins, Coach Powell have been on her about rebounding better. She always had a nice shot. She always had the capability to score, but now she's putting rebounding with that, and she's going to be a force for us inside. Hopefully she can stay healthy and. She's actually doing some of the things that we need her to do for us to be a good basketball team. We have some inside presence, somebody who can actually play with their back to the basket and face up. So she's been doing a great job for her. I'm proud to see her progress. She's just getting better and better every game.
Is she, when you recruited her and you had a vision of what she would be like at certain points of the season, we know non-conference was going to be tough. But when you look at that conference, is she ahead of schedule? Is she on schedule? Just in your mental makeup and the way you look at it, the way you think about it, I would say she's ahead of schedule. How would you assess that?
Well, I look at her. I would give her the head of schedule, on schedule. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to push her too fast. She's just a sophomore. She only played 1 year of college basketball, so I don't want to push her too fast. So I would say she's on schedule. I mean, pushing to be ahead of schedule. But I say before the end of the season, she'll be ahead of schedule. She'll be that person that we can depend on for double figure points next year, double figure rebound. I'm looking for her to be a double person for her. For us. And we done talked about that. I think she still got to drop a little weight. She knows that, and she could be dangerous. She could be a monster down there, and she's doing a great job for us. I'm so proud of her because she has a great spirit about her, and she's take criticism well, and she learned from it. And when we have a person like that, she can't get nothing but better.
Taking the coaching, that's the kind of the key phrase. She's definitely taking the coaching. Speaking of coaching your bench, we were plus four, 19-15 off the bench. So we had 19 of the 75 off the bench. That's about almost a quarter of your points. If you can get that, you get 80 points, you get 20 points off the bench, and your starters fill in. The bench has really stepped up, during that streak, coach, and I thought that was big against Valley.
Well, we depend on our bench for a lot of things. We kind of shorthanded a little bit with our bench because Leah Houston got hurt. But we have some other kids that kind of step their game up a little bit. We have a freshman that's playing spot time, and Jasmine Johnson. She's doing well for us. Francis is doing well for us. But Lauren is the key. Lauren and Ike Polo are the two people that we depend on coming off the bench to really get it done for us, scoring wise and rebounding wise. They fill in those missing spots for us. So, but we have a good bench. They just got to continue to play well, and hopefully they can stay healthy.
Well, you got the big win over Valley. Then you head to the Harrison Complex. You leave there and go to the Clemens Arena to take on UAPB. And Coach, I don't know what to say about that. As good as we were in the first half, Pine Bluff was just as good in the second half. If you had told me that we're going to go up 19 and lose that and lose the game, never would have believed it, considering the way we're playing in that moment. So let's dissect this UAPB game because we're going to see them again. They're coming here the last couple of regular season games of the year at home, Valley and Pine Bluff. Pine Bluff have been playing some pretty good basketball, so let's give them their props on that. So that this wasn't cheap to be for any stretch of the imagination. So when you look at UAPB, you look at Pelly, Bowen, Davis, Taylor, and Marshall. That team is shooting. That team was knocking down threes, but we're able to build a 19-point lead. Why we're able to build the 19-point lead and how we're able to let the 19-point lead slip away and eventually lose the game.
Well, I think we was able to build a lead because UAPB is not a great defensive team. I mean, we got just about everything that we wanted. We ran the back door every time, got it. We was getting little shots right around the hoop. We was driving by them. I just think we were the reason why we lost the lead, but UAPB was the reason why we got the lead, simply because they just wasn't good defensively. We thought they probably gave us a false impression of what we was doing. They made us think that we was a little bit better in the first half than what we really was, because all our cuts, everything was to the basket. I think Maya hit 1 3-point shot during the first half, and after that, everything we did was drive to the basket, right around the basket, and we was making them. Now, how they came back was we continued to play that way, but we wasn't making the shot. So now we are playing faster and then giving them more opportunities to score because we're shooting fast and we're missing it. Even with that, though, I think the biggest thing was we just didn't take care of the ball. I think if we had took care of the ball, it wasn't enough possessions in that game for them to come back from a 19-point lead. Because we turned the ball over so much, shot the ball fast, we gave them more opportunities. And they shot the ball way better in the second half than they shot it in the first half. And as I watched that game on film, we wasn't that great defensively in the first half. They were just missing shots. We wasn't moving well. We wasn't trapping well out of our 1-3-1 zone. Normally we're moving out of that. We're trapping out of that. We weren't doing any of that in the first half. It just looked like we was doing a lot because Pine Bluff wasn't doing nothing. They wasn't moving. They weren't making their shot. But when we started turning the ball over so much, I think we gave them energy. We made them start to believe, okay, yeah, we can press them and we can get some easy layups. And they started doing it. And then they started hitting 3-point shots out of our 1-3-1 because we wasn't really aggressive out of it. We wasn't aggressive in the first half. They were just missing the shot. Then they started making it in the second half. And then we went man for a while. We couldn't keep anybody in front of us. But, when I watched that film, I wasn't surprised. We just wasn't moving. Our legs we were slow. We were slow on everything. We got a bad impression from the first half. We thought we was doing something, but we really wasn't. It was all Pine Bluff. They wasn't doing anything, and they stepped their game up in the second half. And we stayed the same. We stayed the same. We was missing shots. At least we was making a few of those shots early. And Pine Bluff started making a lot more shots. And we couldn't hold that lead. Our rotation for subbing wasn't we could really help each other either. We had so many people had to play different spots because Nelson wasn't there. That means that AP's got to play a five now, and she can't sub for her natural four position. So we had a lot of stuff we had to kind of organize a little different than normally what we would have. But I just think if we just had a did what the coaches was hollering, dude, look, you shooting too soon. Run that offense, run that ball to the point where we using 20 some seconds every time down. And if we don't score with 60 points, I think we still win that game. Because Pine Bluff can't generate enough offense. It's not enough possessions there for them to come back from a 19-point lead if we take care of the ball. But we didn't take care of the ball. And I think that's what cost us the game.
23 turnovers, coach. That's, turnovers has been something that here over the last off and on throughout conference has been kind of a bugaboo, but our defense has been so good and we've been able to generate enough offense where we just kind of gloss over some of these games in which we've had bulk turnovers. But this was one that we could not get around. And the fact that you have a 19-point lead and the way you run your motion offense and you make people chase, having to defend the shot clock. So just did Pine Bluff speed up our clock to get us to take some of these shots quicker, even though we had the lead, but still taking quick shots, giving them opportunities on the offensive end?
So I think they speeded us up because they was trying to press us, and we had a lot of 2-on-1s. We traveled a couple times with nobody down there but us and one defender for them. We traveled, we lost the ball, we took quick shot because we had opportunities. We saw opportunities and we tried to take those opportunities. But that was really what they want. Now, if we was making them like we was the first half, it would have been okay because we would have been scoring. But we weren't making a lot of them, and that's was their way of speeding us up by pressing us, and giving us opportunities to score, and we just wasn't scoring. If we had been putting the ball in the basket, we wouldn't be talking about this game. It'd have been a blowout. But we didn't score, and we didn't take care of the ball. Sometimes when they turned us over, they scored. But when we got a fast break out of it, 2-on-1 or something like that, we still didn't score. So it was working in their favor both ways simply because we wasn't scoring and we wasn't taking care of the ball. That's the difference in the game. But I think a lot of that had to do with we didn't have the legs that we need to have to finish those plays like we were doing in the first half. We didn't have the rotation that we needed on the defensive side to be able, when they weren't small, to go small with them, small and be athletic. Because we couldn't keep Walker out there trying to check one of their small people because she's not fast enough to stay in front of them. But we didn't have the rotation to be able to put our small lineup out there like we normally do. We're the best small team in the conference. We could go small on you and be still good. But we weren't able to do that because of we didn't have all our personnel there. But I still think we should have won the game. Don't get me wrong. I think we still should have found a way to win that game because we had a big enough lead. All we had to do was control the pace of the game. We did not. We just didn't control it. We had to do a better job of controlling the pace of the game and taking care of the ball. We wouldn't even talk about. We'd still be tied with A&M for first place. We just didn't do a good job, and then Pine Bluff made us pay for it because I got to give them credit. They really shot that ball well and late in the game. Because that game was close all the way out from the last 4 minutes. We had a chance to win that game from the last 4 minutes because we still had the lead. Matter of fact, it came down. We had a little floater. Cheatham had a floater right in the lane to tie it, to push it over in overtime. And then we ended up missing it. And they got the rebound. We fouled them, and then Barnes made 2 free throws to put them up 4. So it was still a great ball game, but it should have never got that close.
Well, we were outscored 41-20 in the second half after leading by as many as 19. So the setup for the game was no Lauren Nelson. And you talked about the impact that she would have had if she was available. But this was the 4th game in 7 days with the Grambling reschedule thrown in there. Is it safe to say, it may be an excuse, but still I think a viable question, do you think that 4 games in 7 days caught up with us in the fourth quarter or the second half against Pine Bluff?
It caught up with this group, but having Lauren Nelson would have gave us an extra pair of legs. We might could have got out of it. You know what I mean? But it definitely caught up with us. Yeah, you could see it. But I just think having them extra set of legs would have actually gave us an opportunity to maintain because we got up so much because Pine Bluff did not play like they was capable of playing in the first half. That what really gave us the chance to win the game because we got up so many points. And having the rotation like we normally have it and up 19, I don't think they could come back from that. Because Lauren's gonna give us some baskets too. She was gonna give us some points and some rebounds and she was going to defend. So that's the juggernaut that she brings to the table. But I still got to give Pine Bluff credit because they could have easily
Yeah.
dropped their head and quit. You know what I mean? But they never did. They got hot, and then when they got their lead down around 10, they start thinking they had a chance. And see, and when you got a team down like we had them down, can't never let them get to that point where they thinking they got a chance because they're gonna be a problem for you, and that's what it ended up being. We never did make the shot to really calm them down. Maya had a lot of attempts to do it. Maya got more open shots in this game she got all year. But I could, when I watched them, I could see she just didn't have the legs to make those shots. Those are shots Maya normally make. She was 1 for 10 from the 3-point line. But if she make two of those 3-point shots, if she 3 for 10, we win that game because she make them at the right time. You know what I mean? But like I said, I still get a credit to Pine Bluff for fighting and coming back and doing the things that they did to win the game.
Lady Braves fall 64-60. The winning streak snapped, and now, Coach, got to regroup. And you say you've been thinking about the game. I know your players met and talked about it. I just got to move forward. There's nothing you can do about it. Can't cry over spilled milk. Pine Bluff comes to our place, so we have a chance to play them again. But you got to lean forward and get ready. So you got to put it past you. And so now let's look ahead to what we can expect coming up on Thursday. You've got a really good FAMU team coming in. We won 61-48 back on January 24th. That was a game in which we pulled away late with free throws. FAMU had 5 players in double figures. What do we have to do better the second go round as we look at Bridget Gordon's ball club?
Well, I think we have to do a better job of controlling the pace of that game. I thought we allowed them to hit us in spurts where we turned the ball over against them. I thought turnovers hurt us in that game too. We have to do a better job of taking care of the ball, especially when you're playing against a team like FAM who can really score the ball, and they have about 3 or 4 kids on there who can score at every level. They are a dangerous team. I thought we did a real good job being on the road to be able to go in there and win, but a lot of times teams are a lot more focused when they play on the road. I know we are. We're a lot more focused when we play on the road than we are at home sometimes. So we expect for FAM to come in there and focus. But if we just, teams gonna start playing us man to man a lot. I think we're looking for teams to start playing us a lot more zone. So we got to get better with our zone offense. They're trying to find a way to keep us from doing all that motion stuff, all that misdirection stuff, and they want to kind of make us shoot jumpers. And we just got to get better at that because teams are starting to hit us with a lot of zone play now. But we expect for Thursday to be a tough basketball game. We just got to be solid at what we're doing on both sides of the ball.
Bethune-Cookman on Saturday, Coach. We just got out of Daytona with a 56-51 win. We just never really put it away, but we found a way. What do you expect from the Lady Wildcats the second go round?
Not allowing you to run none of your offense. They so much like Grambling. They press you all the time. You're not going to be able to run anything against them. So when you're not able to run anything, the coaching kind of goes out the window a little bit. Now your players have got to be able to make adjustments. And I think that's what makes it so tough when you're playing against a team like Grambling and Bethune. They trap you on any area of the court. They'll trap you. So your team got to be paying attention when 2 people go trap the ball. Somebody got to be flashing to the ball, and now it's decision making. Once I turn and I look towards my rim, I got to make the right decision. Do I drive it? Do I pass it? And that's what makes it so tough to beat them. They don't allow you to really run nothing, and they play a lot of zone. When they play zone, they trap out of it. So I think that's what makes them so tough. You can't run anything against them. You just got to, it's kind of be your basketball IQ of your players now. You know what I mean? And it's hard to practice for that. You can't really practice for what Bethune does. That's what makes them so tough to beat.
Well, we're at home, Coach. 5 of the last 7 games are at home, so an opportunity to really make up some ground. There's not much we can do in terms of what Alabama A&M is doing. All we can do is just win our games, and let's just see what happens.
Yeah, we talked about that. After we lost to A&M, we went on an 8-game winning streak. I say, let's do the same thing again. Let's go on another winning streak.
And the winning streak starts with the first one. Coach, before we let you go, you were in Itabena last night. Of course, you played for Mississippi Valley 84, 85, 85, 86, and two teams made it to some postseasons. The NCAA tournament team, 85, 86. Honor. Just talk about the coming back to Itabena. George Ivory, the coach at Valley, that was your teammate for that 85, 86 team. And you were in an HBCU classic tournament type scenario in 84 to 85. Talk about coming back to Mississippi Valley and being recognized for that.
Oh, it was great, Charles. We had some fun, man, talking about those old times and those hard practices we used to have, and just to see our assistant coach, Larry Wolfart was there. Coach Stribling's passed away, but it was great, man. To see some of those guys I hadn't saw in 30, 40 years, man, and just for us to sit down and chat a little bit, it was really fun. The crowd, some of the older guys was there. Just still remembered us, and it was great going back, watching our boys play. Our Alcorn boys played Better Boys on that night, and it was funny how everybody that came back was sitting behind Valley bench, and I was over there sitting behind our boys bench. I said, "No, I'm going down where I get my check from," and they thought that was real funny. They thought that was real funny, but we enjoyed it, man. I thought it was nice of Valley to do that because that's been a long time. People still remember that game, man. That's been almost 40 years. People still talk about that Duke Valley game, and everybody don't know about the Georgia Invitation. That's the first postseason Black college tournament, and it just for people to remember that and still remember us. It was great to go back, and for them to honor us like that, I thought it was real great.
Good job by Mississippi Valley and athletics
Yeah.
director Alicia Shields Gaston with the recognition. That's Lady Braves head coach Nate Kilbert, ladies and gentlemen. Coach, we'll talk to you on Thursday. Let's get back in the win column.
All right, Charles. Thank you.
We'll take a time out here. Jake Morton standing by. The Braves got a big win over Mississippi Valley last night. The schedule flips, and the Braves can try to improve their position in the standings. We'll take a break here. The Jake Morton Show starts after this on the Braves Sports Network.